For many years, Spider-Man has been one of the staple characters of the Marvel universe. He has been one of the characters that everybody recognizes and has risen his way up to quite literally the big three in Marvel. Yes, we have Iron Man, Captain America, but now Spider-Man is the number one person that most people think of when they think of Marvel, in all honesty. From the MCU, from all of the multiple TV shows and different movies that he's had, animated or otherwise, we've just been seeing him grow in popularity for so long, and he's easily become, as I said, one of the most recognizable characters throughout all of Marvel. But I always had a thought. Couldn't he have also been very well suited in the DC universe? Obviously, that's not how it would work because Stan Lee created him, and Stan Lee was one of the biggest parts of Marvel. Rest in peace. But I always just wondered, his character alone and the way that he moves, the way that he orients, and everything about him is so good and could easily fit in the DC universe so well. I'm just going to be discussing why I think this, and you guys could give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below, and just give me what your thought process on my opinions are. But with all of that said and done, let me get into where my thoughts process is actually going for this. One of the main reasons that I think that he would fit so well in the DC universe is specifically on where I would put him. I would obviously just put him in New York, specifically during the times when the Teen Titans were in the New York area. Specifically, really due to the fact that I feel like he could have such an amazing relationship with some of the Teen Titans, especially if we're going from Peter at a very young age, back in his high school days, and if we have him start off around that point. Obviously, he's always in New York anyways, and I just wouldn't want to change that fact because that is the kind of key part of who he is. And if we just like moved him and all of his base characters, like characteristics, even if we just like kind of like rewrite his entire story to have it all be set in the DC universe, it doesn't really change anything due to the fact of if we just like make sure that he ends up Spider-Man and he ends up having the same personality and it's still Peter Parker, the same one that we know and love just in the DC universe, his relationship with some of the Titans would be absolutely splendid. Him and Dick Grayson would be able to get along so well, in my opinion, specifically due to the fact that they both kind of have similar personalities. What I mean by that is the fact that him and Dick Grayson are easily both so quirky and funny at times, and both have their fun spots and more of their quippy personalities at times. So they would easily be able to get along, be able to work together and mesh perfectly, especially due to the fact that they are both extremely intelligent. Dick was trained by Batman, so he still has his master level detective skills, and Spider-Man would be able to mesh perfectly well with the entirety of the Teen Titans area and be able to mesh well, even most likely him probably going out solo and going it alone for the most part, and eventually probably coming into a team. But either way, his relationship with the Teen Titans would be something astronomical. And especially as we have him eventually age up, as we've seen Spider-Man do throughout all of Marvel Comics, and have him going through different age ranges, his personality doesn't change that much, and his relationship could easily be different between so many different characters within the Justice League, because I eventually feel like he probably would move up to the Justice League because how strong he is. We all know that he's usually holding back extremely when he's dealing with his own villains, and the DC, and obviously both DC and Marvel have extremely strong villains that he wouldn't have to like hold back extremely much against. And if we're being completely honest, him and Superman, him and Batman, him and so many of the Justice League, him and so many DC characters would be able to work so perfectly with each other because their personalities and their actual ideals just mesh so well. If we just go with the entire thought process that him and Nightwing would be very close friends as time goes along, it would just make sense that he would eventually meet Batman, and actively having access to someone like Bruce Wayne would be absolutely perfect for him because of the fact that, one, it would be able to teach him so many new things. Obviously, with his spidey sense and everything like that, his detective skills would be able to grow so high, and we're not even going to talk about the possibility of him possibly learning any kind of martial arts from Batman, because that just kind of usually makes Peter Parker a little too overpowered, in my opinion, and it makes him way too strong for him to be even thinking about. So we're not even going to discuss that possibility. We're really just going to be discussing that him with so many characters, him with so many plot lines would absolutely be amazing. As I've already stated, the Teen Titans would be a perfect mesh for him because of the fact of most of the people, especially like depending on what age we have him, if we just like have him start off with around the same age as all of the Titans and eventually like make his way and incorporate his way into the team, it would be something so nice because of the fact that we've already seen how he works with different teams. We've already seen him be a part of his own teams, the Avengers, high class teams, and we know he usually is able to bounce off and work perfectly well with so many people, and we know that he has his own darker side to him. We know that he has his own edge and he has his own darkness that he has to fight with, especially when you go after things that he loves, especially like in the scenes where he's going after Kingpin and just completely showing his actual full rage. We know that he would be a perfect fit for so many of these different characters because, one, as I've already stated, if he had access to Batman, he would probably eventually start taking up after Batman because of the fact that maybe taking up a darker-esque suit, and probably would have originally started his own suit as acknowledgement of Superman and having it something like that with the blue and red and things like that. But we could easily just have it be along the lines of he has access to Batman. Batman helps him out with upgrading his suit, upgrading his tech, upgrading his gears, his gadgets, and so many other things. And he would be able to work so well. The class of villains that we have in DC, I really wouldn't even know like what kind of villains that he would be facing, who he would like be have his main adversaries as, especially when he's on his like his own thing. But as I've already stated, he's just so strong entirely that he would really be able to help out with almost any of the other group's villains fairly easily. Spider-Man is always that person that usually takes on the not extremely high tier villains, which honestly is so good because of the fact that since he does that, it leaves everyone else to be worrying about these bigger threats, these bigger tiers, and it doesn't make everyone just get so overwhelmed with the fact that, oh, there's the crimes here, crimes here, crimes here, crimes here. Spider-Man's usually taking care of the not so big threats, and obviously he has his own main threats that he's going out, but he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And he would obviously still keep that same kind of persona, and we could just actively have him still be able to really help out so many people. Him on the Justice League would be absolutely amazing. His relationship, I feel, with someone like Shazam, someone like Cyborg, someone with so many different people would absolutely be spectacular. Especially, we've already seen how Spider-Man is able to get down with the ladies, and that's obviously, this is just going to be like a jokey little section, but we've seen how he's able to get down with the ladies. We've seen that he would probably easily be able to have love interests with so many different people, depending on how old he is, depending on how long he's been there, and like how long he's been actively knowing some of these people. But him being in the DC universe would be absolutely just so good because of the fact that I'm telling you, him and as a character, him as a person, him the way that he acts, him the way that he moves, usually kind of resembles to me a characteristic that could work well in both universes. He's obviously perfect in Marvel, but I've always felt that he could also be perfect in DC. He could be a little extra zing and a little extra pizzazz that they don't usually see in a sense of the way that Spider-Man is. And he's just like such a well-beloved character that we know for a fact, even if he was in that universe, he would still be one of the most popular characters entirely. He's just so good, so lovable, so perfect in everything that he does that his storylines would still be amazing because we know DC loves to give someone a bad and a completely sad storyline, and Peter Parker is the absolute king of getting sad storylines in his entirety. And I just feel like DC could obviously do so good with him. And so that's mainly what I wanted to be talking about. We've seen how he's been portrayed in Marvel for so long, and I've always felt that he in the DC universe could have been something spectacular spectacular. And I know I've said that so many times because that is just the truth. Him in the DC universe, him being able to communicate, know all of these different characters, be having these different relationships would have been so nice to see. And obviously we probably wouldn't ever see it unless there was another crossover where those two, like those groups of people would meet, which has happened in the comics before. But those were only short little excursions. If Spider-Man was plopped into the DC universe and put in there from birth and like having his own storyline, making it seem like he was always there, it would just be a quite literally nice thing to see, because of the fact that he, as I said, would just mesh so well with so many different characters. He would mesh well with almost everybody, and that's really what I wanted to be talking about. So please go in the comment section, tell me what you guys would think and how you guys think he would actually interact with so many different characters in the DC universe. I know this is kind of a short video, but I didn't really want to go too much into detail about this because of the fact that there is no real need. This is just a full-on opinion that I have, and I just wanted to see what your guys' opinions are on this too. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.